Okay, this video accompanies the main video and accommodates for multiple losses throughout the month with varying odds. Okay, this spreadsheet is an amendment to the previous one which allows for loss recovery to be recouped over the month. Now, there are multiple variations of this strategy that I use, and now you can extend it out over 30 days per loss or 10 days. The idea is choose a strategy that suits you. This is the one that I use, and it simply allows us to be less aggressive when recovering from a loss. I'll point out again, a loss is a loss. There is no magic. If you lose $100, you've lost $100. What we're trying to do here is increase our stake so that we're not just flat betting. It works particularly well if you've got low odd parlay systems, one pick of the day, or even if you've got multiple picks of the day, perhaps have one of these per system to manage your losses from the system's loss rather than just in one big loss of the day. So it's up to you how you manage this, but this will hopefully help. It's not the slickest of spreadsheets, but it works effectively and accurately. So let's just run over what you need to be entering. And you can see here there's some blue columns and there are some green columns. The only data that you ever need to input is on the green columns. Don't touch anything on the blue, and you don't touch anything with the red writing. And the simplest thing to think about is this. Enter, if you have a standard bet size per day, your standard budget, and I recommend that you do, enter the budget throughout the whole month. You can have it variable, you can enter and change it, chop and change it. My recommendation is to consistently have your standard budget per day, and that goes into the standard bet column here. The odds, this will be variable based on the odds of the day, of that pick of the day, or the average odds of the day. It's entirely up to you how you enter those odds, but that's also variable. And here we account for 10 losses in a month. So I've not built the spreadsheet up to 12 losses or 15 losses. I on average have a maximum of 6 losses per month, but there are occasions where I go over that. I've not really had more than 10 a month. So I built it for 10 a month. Simply extend the columns, if you're familiar with Excel, to the average amount of losses you have per month. But I built it to 10. And what we do here, let's say it's the first of the month and it lost. So the bet lost. We enter the date, 1st of the 12th, 13, and the loss, because we hadn't had any losses previously because it's only the first day of the month, unless you're carrying over from a previous month, but let's say we're not, we enter $100. This automatically calculates, if you see up here, automatically calculates that we have 30 days left to recover that $100, and we need to have an extra daily profit of $3.33. The spreadsheet therefore calculates into recovery bet number 1 what you would need to place. So assuming that we have no more losses, and assuming that these were accurate in the odds that we're going to have, we could predict this is the amount of extra bets that we would have. And you can see here it simply adds them to the standard bet size. So if we changed the second to odds of 1.69, you can see it's changed this slightly. You can see the recovery bet number 1 has gone to 483 to recoup $3.33. The next day, let's say the odds are 1.45. It's changed the bet, so the recovery bet would be $7.41. And you can see over in the stake column here that it has added it to your standard $100 bet. If you change that to $50, that would have changed it to $57.41. Easy. And it's all really simple when there is only one loss. So we could carry on doing this and simply change the odds of the day. But what happens when there's a second loss? And the previous spreadsheet didn't account for that. You would have to run multiple spreadsheets running together. So this is what we do. We would simply enter the data. So let's say all of these win, and then when it comes down to the 7th, the 7th was a loss. So on that particular day at 1.79, we had a bet of $104.22. So we entered the loss here, $104.22. We entered the date of that loss, and the date of that loss was, here is, let me point out now, this is the cumbersome part of the spreadsheet. Once you enter the data of the new loss, it automatically changes historical data. So this is something to bear in mind. So let's undo that, and I'll show you again. It's a bit clunky, and maybe a spreadsheet guru can make an amendment to this so that it doesn't change. But you'll see here, we're on the 7th, and the 7th is lost. Let's change the odds just so that we can make it a little bit more realistic. 1.62 were the odds of the day when we lost. So to recover the $3.33 for that day, we would have placed an extra bet of $5.38. So we go along to the end of the spreadsheet here, and that was our loss. So this is the number we must remember. And when we enter it here, as soon as we hit enter, it will change all this data above, right? And this, because it's going to recalculate based on 2 losses. So you're going to lose historical data. So the most important aspect is to always look at the next bet day and below. So as soon as you change that, as soon as we hit enter on this number, so I'm going to be typing in we lost on the 7th of the 12th, 13. Nothing's changed, but as soon as I enter 105.38, it will change everything to take into account this new loss, but that means historical data is now inaccurate. So you can't look back. So that's the clunkiness of the spreadsheet. So we will look at entering that. You can see we've got 24 months. It hasn't calculated because I haven't hit enter. And if we go over to the 7th, we're still, where are we? 105.38. As soon as I hit enter, it will change it. You see that? It's 112, which is inaccurate from previous dates, but moving forward on the 8th, which is our next bet, it is accurate. So everything in the future is accurate. So that's showing the odds, and we can see here it's a good checksum when you're looking at the spreadsheet, is it accurate or not. I've entered the odds of 2, which clearly shows is that to recover the first loss is $33. Well, that's accurate, you can see there. And recover the second loss over 24 days left in the month, that's also accurate. But let's put the odds on the 8th of 1.55, and it's adjusted them nicely, and then therefore the bet of the day would have been at $114.04. And again, now that let's say that lost as well, so the 8th also lost, 2012, 13, and the bet was $114. Is that correct? My eyesight's going. Should use my spider senses. $114.04. Remember, again, as soon as I enter that number, $114.04, the 8th and everything above it will change to inaccurate data. So as soon as you hit enter, if you forgot what the number is, you're going to have to press Control Z or Command Z if you're using a Mac to undo it. So therefore, you can see it changed all the numbers, and it's saying I need to recover this. And now, recovery column number 3 comes into play, and you go to the 9th because we lost on the 8th. And this is accurate, but all of this old data, as I said, it's clunky, is inaccurate because it's taken the 3 bets into account. But of course, there wasn't 3 losses in that at that time. So the next bet today at 1.69 would be $118. And again, if there was no more losses, you just carry on just betting the stake, whatever the odds were. So enter the stake at the odds manually. 2, 1.89, 1.7, and it will change the amount required in the total stake needed column. And if it is any more losses, just simply enter the date and the amount of that particular loss, and it will calculate it for you. You've got all the way to 10 losses in the month. Hope that helps. Hope that is going to make it a little bit easier to manage multiple losses, still capping at the end of the month, so you're building up the recovery profile to the end of the month. Speak to you soon.